Just talk about
Day Live and Kurumi. I was really surprised when we got a third season because it was like, what, 4 or 5 years? It was a long time. And then I was like, okay, cool. That gives me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, hope for shows that maybe never got another season and we're still waiting and praying and hoping that maybe they get another season. So it was really, really fun, but it was hysterical when I got into the booth to do the third season and they pulled up my voice reference for her because it had been a few years. And I was like, oh, it's baby Alexis. That's baby Alexis. It was just really, really funny. But yeah, it was really, really fun getting to return to that character. I love voicing Kurumi. I think she is so much fun. I don't really have anyone else quite like her on my resume, so it was just so much fun to. I mean, even though she's kind of a mixed bag of nuts, it's like kind of visiting an old friend when a show comes back around, you know? I'm like, oh, I know you. And Josh Greeley, who voices Shido, who's also here this weekend, by the way, if you want to go say hi to him, is one of my good friends, and so it was just always fun getting to like torture him because a lot of times I would record first, and then he would have to he's like, oh God, you just. Like whispering in my headphones and so that was really fun. But yeah, she's been a lot of fun. I hope we get more. Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
What was your experience like working on My Bride is a Mermaid?
Oh, My Bride is a Mermaid. Speaking of baby Alexis, this cord is not long enough. Okay. My Bride is a Mermaid. God, I've been a voice actor for maybe 2 years when that show came around. So this is before simuldubs, everything we had to audition for, like different culture altogether in terms of the studio. I wanted that role so bad. Like I wanted it so bad.
Sounds my favorite character. She's so hilarious.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And the show is so fun. I always tell people, I'm like, I don't care what language you watch it in, just watch it. Like it's just a good show. That show was a little unusual though, the auditioning process was a little unusual, even for back then, because there was singing in it, and so. Oh God, girl, thank you. I think I've come a long way since then, but that, not to get too personal, but that was a really big milestone for me because that was the first time I had done anything even close to singing professionally, and I was in an extremely competitive musical theater program in high school, and I started working for Funimation when I was 19, so I was just barely in college, and so those scars were still like really fresh. Like I had a lot of competition, and people would find what your perceived weakness was or what your actual weakness was in the program, and they would take advantage of it. And so I had people trying to make me feel like I couldn't sing my way out of a paper bag, and then I would get so nervous when I would sing that I couldn't support my notes, and so it would just prove them right. And I was in singing lessons for forever, and I would leave singing lessons crying because I just was like, oh my God. And my mom's an amazing singer, and so I felt like I lived in her shadow, and it was just this thing. And so when My Bride is a Mermaid came around, I was like, okay, I'm not in high school anymore. This is my chance to kind of face those demons. We had a singing audition for the show, which was what made it unusual because that typically doesn't happen. And there were callbacks, which typically doesn't happen in voiceover, and it was just a very involved process. And I remember I felt really good about the reading audition, and then the singing audition came up, and I was like, okay. Don't psych yourself out, too late. And I got a sinus infection the week of the singing audition, and I was devastated. I was like, this director doesn't know me. I haven't worked with him. He's gonna think this is what I sound like. I don't wanna go in there and make excuses because I don't wanna be that person. And so I was just like, okay, well, there it goes. I don't know if I had a shot to begin with, but now I really don't have a shot. But then I got a call back and I was like, oh my God. And then when I got it, I just thought I was gonna die. I was so excited. And Brina Palencia, who is amazing. I'm sure if you don't know her name, I'm sure you know her work. She is an amazing songstress. And she was our music director on that show. And that's actually how I got to know her better. And she was kind enough to meet with me outside of work and say, I will I will go over these songs with you. Like, just sing them to me, sing them to a friend. We can work on these songs together. Like, leave all that BS behind. Like, that's not your life anymore. Like, you can sing, you can do this. Like, I'm here for you. And so she's like my big sister now, which is that's kind of the relationship I've had with her since I met her. And so it was just like that role was very special, to put a button on it for a lot of different reasons. So anyway, it's my very long story. I apologize. Anybody else? Oh, at this side of the room. Yeah.
How was it when you were working on the show of My Hero Academia?
Oh, it was fun. See, that was interesting too, because we auditioned for My Hero, and Colleen Klinkenbeard, who was the director, was like, I have you in mind for a character that I want you to read for, but I'm not sure when she's gonna show up. And I was like, okay. So she gave me the sides for Mei Hatsume, and she's like, I'm not really sure. Like, she's really crazy in the Japanese, but I think that brand of crazy isn't gonna localize very well, so we gotta kind of like come up with something else. And she had me do like a read with a lisp, like for May. She's like, let's experiment with like a speech impediment for her. And then she's like, I'm gonna have Minetta do a speech impediment, so we're not gonna do that. But it was all these like zany things. And then like a year later, May finally shows up, and Colleen was like, do you remember that like weird audition I had you do like a year ago? And I was like, yeah. She goes, okay, well, I'm casting you as that role, and she's finally here. And I was like, oh, cool. Because, by then, My Hero had started up, and I was like, oh, this is like a really cool show. And I didn't put two and two together that audition was for that show. So it was just kind of out of sight, out of mind. And then when it came around, I was like, yes, okay, cool. I finally get to be in this cool show, and this character is insane. I'm so excited. So she's been a lot of fun, and I'm excited that I thought she was just going to kind of be a one-off, and then they brought her back a few times, and I hope they continue to do so. So I'm holding out for a pop figure.
I love your character a lot.
Thank you. I'm so excited. And she has shirts at Hot Topic, which is really cool. That's like a thing. I'm like, oh my God, it's official. She's at Hot Topic. So thank you. She's been a lot of fun. I hope we get more of her. Yeah. Did you have a question too? Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Of course, yeah.
What's your favorite character that you have voiced?
It's like choosing a child. I'm not even a mother. I don't know, it kind of changes. I've had the good fortune to voice characters that were really good for me, like at that point in my life. I think one of my all-time favorites, though, and it's in a show that's like lesser known. It was a show called Puzzle and Dragons, and it's like the closest thing Funimation has ever had to a kid-friendly show. But it's like if like Pokemon and Digimon and like something else had a baby. Like, it's very much like that. And I played a character called Tamazo, and it was my first mascot character ever. And we worked on this show for 9 months. We literally birthed an anime baby. And it's got a mobile game, it's got all this other stuff, and then there's more of it, but we didn't get to dub it. And I was devastated. And when you live with a character that long, because that's a treat, like we don't normally get to do that. And especially, maybe I've had roles in shows like Fairy Tail and shows like, One Piece, but it was just kind of, cyclical characters. And so I wasn't with that character for 900 episodes. One Piece is in like 900 episodes. Oh God. Just stop. Just put it down. Put the pen down. It's just, anytime someone's like, I'm going to start One Piece, I'm like, let me know when you're old and dying, because you still won't be done. But anyway, but Tamazo was in every single episode of this, like, I don't know, I think there was close to 100 episodes. And he was just my baby. He was this little cat bat egg thing with little nubbins, and I just loved him so much. And it was one of these characters where, yes, obviously when we dub stuff, we're always somewhat bound by, with whatever the Japanese vision was. But we just kind of, like, I gave him this, I don't know, like, as I grew with him, like, his voice kind of changed, and it was kind of a speech impediment, but not really. But everything was just kind of like this, and it was like the tongue was just kind of stuck on the roof of the mouth, and all this stuff, and it was very teethy, and so I don't know, it was like a bad impression of Rugrats. I don't know, but like. But it was just really fun, and he was just like crazy and all over the place, and so he was kind of a rule breaker in that respect. And it was sort of a milestone too, because I was like, if I was in any way insecure about being loud and obnoxious in the booth, I couldn't do this. Like, it just wouldn't work. So he was very special. And there's many others that I love, but that was the first one that came to mind. So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. By the way, guys, I'm sorry for my long answers. I'll try to button it down a bit.
Who's your favorite male character in My Hero Academia?
Oh, gosh. I mean, gosh, so many. And see, I get real scared of the favorite My Hero questions because there's always a wrong answer. Like, there are people that are like, well, I liked you and now I don't. Like, if you say someone that's like someone they hate, but like, I don't know, my joke is like, our joke in the industry is like, if you're on a My Hero panel and you don't know the answer or you're like too scared to answer, like the default is always Mineta. Like, who do you ship with your character? Mineta. Next, like, just like, or whatever. I mean, All Might's pretty cool. Deku obviously is very cool. I actually need to catch up on My Hero. There's a lot of characters I haven't met yet. What is Rico's character? The guy who's part of the group of three. He's got the blonde hair and he like disappears into things. Yes. I think one of the reasons I love him so much is because the guy, Rico Fajardo, who voices him, just like, it's Rico as a superhero. And Rico is so endearing as a human being. And I don't think it works as well if you don't. I mean, I think that character is cool anyway, but like, he's so much cooler if you know Rico. It's like, if we're, like right now, speaking of Rico Fajardo, we're working on a show called Million Arthur right now. It's a simuldub. And Rico, he plays himself. He plays a character called Tekken. And this guy is like constantly working out and like taking his shirt off and being like, we're gonna go like run around and do like 10 miles, guys. Because he's that kind of guy. He'll come up and he'll be like, who wants to like drop and do 50 burpees? And we're like, nobody, Rico. Nobody. Like, and then you take him out to, we have a place in, I don't know if you guys have it up here, but it's called Kula. It's a conveyor belt sushi place and it's like super cheap. And yeah, I get in trouble with that. And he'll sit there and eat, like his favorite is salmon sushi, and it's like 2 pieces of sushi per plate, and he will eat like 30 plates because he's a machine. And when he lifts weights, I'm like, are you lifting weights or are you eating them? I don't know, which are scary. Anyway, no. So yeah, but I do find that happens a lot. Like in certain shows, I'll be like, I only like this character as much as I do because I know the person voicing them really well. And I know that I know how similar this character is to them and how natural their reads are because it's just them. So but there's so many cool, what's your favorite character in My Hero? Todoroki, that's awesome. Yeah. There's just so many good ones. It's just such a good show. It's so fun. I mean, I think everyone kind of equally doesn't like Mineta, but it's like, you do. I don't know, it's so funny. Even if you ask the voice actress, she's like, yeah, Mineta's a Mineta. But no, it's a great show. And we're supposed to be getting more. There's supposed to be more in the fall. I don't know if you guys know that, but I'm telling everybody that anyone that expresses an interest in My Hero, I'm like, there's more. There's going to be more. Did you know? You guys always know stuff before I do anyway, so you're like, yeah, we know. I'm like, okay. In the back with the hat. Get.
What kind of strains do you experience with your voice when we say Kid Trunks for Dread?
What kind of strains? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I want to die. That's the strain. He's the only character I've ever voiced in my entire career that I have a limit on how long I can voice him for in one go. It's 2 hours. I'm like, and by about an hour and 40 minutes, I'm like making excuses to leave the booth so that I don't have to go another 20 minutes. It's just, and part of it, like, it's in this really weird part of the voice. It's a voice match, so there's like extra stress there. And then the fact that it's a lot of screaming and like battle stuff. And if we're doing Gotenks, a lot of times Kara Edwards, who's the voice of Goten, will come in first and record. She'll preview the lines as Gotenks in Japanese and then lay down her track for Goten in English. And then I'll come in and just listen to her English and lay down my track as Trunks. And I have to like sync it up as close as I can. And I love Kara, but her instincts are very different from mine. So she will throw out these bizarre reactions and I'm like, what? Like, okay. I'm like, I gotta hear that again. Because basically they're just playing me stuff. And it's just, for the video games especially, it's just like boom, 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 boom. So it's a lot of gravel in a short amount of time. And so, yeah, and a lot of times I struggle with keeping the voice in the place that it needs to be in because I'm afraid I'm gonna hurt myself subconsciously. So occasionally my director will come on and go, you sound like a girl. Don't sound like a girl. I'm like, We have this thing though where, especially in the beginning, I had like a reference line. He's like, okay, we're kind of losing the attitude because you're thinking too hard about the voice, and you're getting out of that boyish gravelly range. So I would do this like monologue beforehand talking about how like my dad's an a-hole and mom, I want an Xbox for Christmas, and like my dad's not gonna get me an Xbox for Christmas, but my mom's gonna get me an Xbox for Christmas. And like just talking about just being like a jerk and just being like a little kid. And so anytime I'd start to fall out of the voice, that my director would come on and go, your dad's an a-hole. And I'd be like, my dad's an a-hole. Okay, yeah. You know, like it just like whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of strain that goes with his voice, especially if they're like, I'm really sorry, you have to go Super Saiyan in this session. I'm like, God. It's okay, it's not for very long. Oh, well, but not very long by Dragon Ball standards is too long by normal people standards. So is the scream gonna go 20 minutes or 10? Both are too long. Thanks, Dragon Ball. No, luckily with him, it's never been too bad. But there have been stories of like, I think Eric Vale was one of them who plays adult Trunks. This was many years ago. He was, before he built up the stamina, I guess. But he was in this, we call them whisper rooms, and they're like freestanding studios, and they're the cheap ones, and they're small and uncomfortable. And he was doing this, power up yell, and it's like, forever. And then all of a sudden, and he had passed out and had fainted in the booth. And so the director was like, and like in the whisper rooms, there's these little tiny windows. Like normally at Funimation, we have like a room with like a big pane of glass, like separating the room. And so you can like see what's going on in the booth. But the whisper room, it's these little tiny windows. And so you gotta like open the door to figure out what happened. And so, it's like, Eric? He like falls out, and I'm like, oh my God. I forget who was directing him when that happened. This was before my time, but I think the same thing happened to Sabbath, because, Vegeta and Piccolo, and he voices all the ones that scream too much. And I'm sure at some point Sean Schemmel fainted, because Goku. But yeah, it's like, I've never had an episode where I thought I was gonna faint, thankfully. Because that just sounds like that's a different kind of strain. That's like oxygen not going to your brain strain. But yeah, no, it's been fun. Who else has got questions? Anybody? Pink.
What's your favorite color and food?
Oh, my favorite color right now is pink. And my favorite food. I love food. I'm really bad with favorite questions, guys, just FYI. It's hard to choose just one. Sushi is a favorite. I love sushi. But I am also someone that I'm like, if it looks good, I'm eating it. Or if I haven't tried it, like, let's go. Like, one of my favorite things to do is like go try it. Someone's like, oh my God, there's this new restaurant. It's got great reviews. Okay, cool. Why aren't we there? Right now. Well, because it's like 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. Why aren't we there? Like, they don't open until 5. Well, okay. What do we do until 5? Because we're going tonight. Yeah, and traveling internationally, I'm always like, what can I try? So that's okay. So yeah, now that I'm in Canada, okay, I know poutine is a big thing, but like, what's like another big thing here besides maple flavored things? Okay, I've heard about beaver tails. Like, what is it? Is it like your take on a churro or something, or? Oh, okay.
It's like a giant piece of fried tofu with icing.
And you can like put whatever you want on it. Like, okay, someone was telling me that. Someone said Nutella, and I was like, I will definitely be there. I know we have like food trucks out there, don't we? So I can go get a beaver tail right now.
I'll get you a beaver tail.
Just put on a wig, pretend to be me. I'll be right back. Speaking of great ideas, they won't let me do this, but I was telling him, I was like, I see chairs, rolly chairs, and I see a ramp. You're all geniuses too. Like, we're just great minds. I mean, unfortunately, the ramp is not big enough because where my brain automatically went was there's 2 of them. You could have a race. But someone would get hurt. The one in the blue chair would get hurt. Most definitely. Or it would just be a more thrilling ride. I don't know. Okay, so beaver tails. I'll add that to my list. Yeah, that sounds like a great way to consume a mountain of sugar. Anything else? Beaver tails, like Timbits? Okay, I tried to get some last night and they were out.
Oh, no way.
So I have tried, in their defense, I went to the Tim Hortons like right there. So like everyone and their mom who's at this con probably went there and like cleaned them out. And it was also like 10:30 at night. I was like, I'm gonna sleep in tomorrow. I'm gonna get some Timbits for breakfast. We're out of Timbits. Excuse me? Okay, I'll have 2 donuts.
You can also go it's crazy, but a few of the hamburgers, Arby's.
Oh, okay.
Go to Arby's.
Okay, I'm from Texas though. Like, how does it compare to a Texas hamburger? We are Cow Central in Texas.
Get an Arby's hamburger and pizza.
Okay. All right, cool. Cool, yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
I was wondering about your experiences with the Fire Emblem series.
Oh, Fire Emblem. It was one of those things where that was another LA project. So for every single thing, I had to go out to LA. They never tell me what I'm doing when I go out there. And usually, well, they do. I take that back. They do, but they give us code names. So we can't tell anybody about it. Because, like, yeah, I'm working on this new show called Fenrir. Then it comes out, and it's like, oh, that's not actually Fenrir. I think the code word for Fire Emblem was Brave. Like, are you available for Brave? Which one is that? Like, all these code words. I don't know what I'm doing. But for Lucina in particular, I did know what that was because they, I'd done voice matching for the studio before, and they sent me her sides and sent Lucina's sides, and they sent me voice samples of her, and they were like, do your best voice match and send it back, and we'll see, you know, because we have to have someone replace Laura Bailey on this because she can't do it anymore because of union stupid stuff. So there was that, and the same thing happened with Paula as well, because that was also a Laura Bailey character, and they were just like, yeah, cool, client's happy with that, like, come out and record that. And then Claire was, I did not audition for Claire. They just brought me out, and I figured it was more, because they were recording a couple different things at the same time. They, you know, obviously, like, is it Heroes, that's the mobile game? They were doing, you know, there's so much DLC with Heroes, and like that was ongoing like constantly, and then like Warriors was a thing, and then there was like Shadows of Valencia was a thing, and like it was like all kind of happening simultaneously. So I never knew what I was going out there for. I was like brave, that's all I got. So when I went out there for Claire, I was really, really excited because I was like, yay, not a voice match. I'm so excited. And Claire, I mean, Lucina was really great, and she's been really, really fun. She's almost too low for me, so it's never super comfortable. And especially when she's masquerading as Marth, that's murder. I thought I injured myself the last time we did that. Like, I'm not even kidding. I thought I damaged my voice. It was bad because it was like, you're a low-voiced woman pretending to be a man shouting at soldiers for the entire game. Great, military shouting. I love it. No, I don't. But then Claire was like, oh my God, Claire is like in such a comfortable place, and she's so much fun, and she's like this lovable witch with a B, and like this like ratch batch, and she doesn't sound like that. But we called her a debutante. Like she's the debutante without the Southern accent. And so anytime that was kind of slipping from the voice, Wendy Lee, my director, would be like, I'm missing the debutante, more debutante, you know, wrists out. And so it's like, we have to do the Disney princess wrists. And that's gonna be a great picture, thank you. And or like get your fan out and like fan yourself, and so there was a lot of I can't move very much in the booth because the microphone is right here, and if I move too much I'm off mic and it sounds really bad, and the computer doesn't like that. So it was a lot of like standing still so that I'm on mic, but then like oh I love you so much, that kind of thing, salutations, oh the wrists, oh you're not talking to me the way I want you to. Chase me, validate me. Just like, she's so fun. And then I was so upset. So the game comes out, right? This girl has a Pegasus. No one told me that. All I had was this image of her with like her cool halberd and like her hair is blowing in the wind. I'm like, oh, this girl's cool. And then the game comes out. I'm like, why did you not tell me she had a Pegasus? And the next time I was in LA, I slam into the studio. I'm like, Wendy, she has a Pegasus. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Claire has a Pegasus. Why didn't you tell me that? That changes everything. She's like, how would that change your voice? I'm like, it wouldn't. I just wanted to know. Actually, it might have. Honestly, if you would just said, remember, you own a Pegasus, that would have been enough. Oh, right, I own a Pegasus. I own a Pegasus. Like, that just, I feel like if Pegasuses were real, you would feel better than people, right? If you owned one, like, I feel like that would have, like, you're a debutante and you have a Pegasus. Like, yes, it changes everything. She needs to lord that over people. Like, that changes things, you guys. But yeah, I'm so excited about the Pegasus. It's like, this is all my little girl dreams come true. I voiced a Southern belle without the Southern accent with a Pegasus. Come on. Anyway, yeah, Claire, she's fun. How are we doing on time? Since I've talked so much.
You have about 20 minutes left.
Oh, I'm good. Okay,
so
cool.
Consider this a speed round afterwards, and Alexis will be signing autographs right after this panel.
Yes, I will go directly to my table. Cool. Who has a question? Has not asked one. Glasses, hat. Yes.
Can you talk about your experiences as Minerva from Valkyrie Chronicles 4?
Oh, Minerva, she was fun. That was another LA title. Another one where I had no idea what was going on. I showed up and I was like, cool, what are we doing? I heard that game was controversial, like after the fact. I'm still not sure why. I haven't played it. I don't know anything but what Minerva went through. It was cool and empowering getting to play this like very in control, like military person. I don't typically associate that type of character with my voice range. So it's really cool to get to play someone like that. I saw, what is it? Is it Clive? Is that the guy she blames everything on constantly? Claude. I saw this really funny comic where she's on a bicycle and she's riding her bicycle and it's like drawn really funny. And there's like a rock in the road and have you seen this? You know what I'm talking about? She hits the rock and like falls over and she's like, Claude, like, dang it, Claude. Because like everything is his fault. It's so funny. So yeah, she was cool. I like getting to voice strong and control females like that. It was pretty sweet. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
I know that you often watch anime on your free time.
Oh, actually, I don't. I don't have time. I watch the anime I'm directing because that usually takes up my life.
Right. Well, back in the day when you did quite a bit, the characters, if you ever watched something and you saw your own voice in it or something, did that ever take you out of the film?
I would watch anime like casually. I mean, it wasn't. I've always been like a huge like movie holic, so I was always like, yeah, anime's fun, but all these movies. But when I started voice acting, of course, I was like, oh my gosh, like, and I get free copies of stuff I'm in, and so I was like, I want to like see this thing I did. Like, look, Mom, I'm on TV, that kind of thing. And the first time I saw something and my voice came out of the television, I was like, that's what I sound like. Because, when you hear yourself talk, like our ears are here and our mouth is here. So obviously, like how I sound talking to you right now is probably not how I sound to myself. Like, and I'm so used to hearing the sound of my voice now. It is all meshed together. But, if you ever hear like a recording of your voice, most people are like, ah. And when people first go into the booth, they're like, ah, because you can hear your voice in your headset, so in your headphones. So that was kind of weird. But it's been really, really fun to, sometimes I will go back and I'll watch shows that like really meant a lot to me, and because we record separately, I like to go in and watch it because I want to see it all come together. Like, I'm like, I didn't hear so-and-so's performance in this, or like, I recorded this scene, but they hadn't recorded yet, and I want to see what they did with it. So a lot of times when I go back and watch, it's more just like, oh my God, my friends are so cool. And I'm in there too, but my friends are so cool. Like, so it's really cool to go back and like support people, or if I know someone that's like, you know, a brand new voice actor and they're trying to learn more about anime voice acting, I'll say, hey, like I can give you some recommendations, like, and kind of show you stylistically how it changes and how it's different from other kinds of acting. So sometimes I use it more as like a teaching tool nowadays, which is cool. But sometimes it's nice to just go back and revisit a show I had a lot of fun on. And I mean, I think it was, you know, very different because back when I watched anime, you know, I was not a voice actor, didn't know any voice actors, like nothing like that. I didn't really associate names with characters. I mean, like actor names with characters, and so it didn't really. I mean, there were a few that I was like, oh, I've heard this person in a different show. I'm gonna look up who this is. But I was so far removed from them that it wasn't like a, oh, I've heard that voice. Oh, cool, that person's in this show. Okay, that's awesome, you know. But now it's like, wait a minute, is that so-and-so? I gotta look it up. Is that so-and-so? I gotta look it up. And then I'm so excited, and then I have to go tell them and be like, I didn't know that was you. I didn't know you could do a voice like that. That's so cool. So these days it's more about just like supporting people and because they're not just, I mean, a lot of people I work with, they're not just my coworkers, they're good friends. And we all do this full time, and so it's nice to have a support system, you know. So yeah, it's really, really cool. And I'm so proud of so many people that I work with, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you did so cool. Or like, if I hear part of them when I'm recording, I'm like, I have to go back and watch this whole episode when it comes out because that was awesome. But yeah, so it's just kind of like, and then of course when I'm directing, like that show is my life because I have to watch it before I cast it, and I have to like go through it and be like, okay, what am I gonna do here? I have to like schematic it out and figure out what I'm gonna have my actors do and who I'm gonna bring in and like all that good stuff. So, and then I have to like mix review it and booth review it and then watch it again for DVD. And by the time it's over, I'm like, I'm ready for this show to be done because I watched each episode like 20 times. So it just kind of depends, but it's cool. Yeah, anyone who has not asked a question. Okay. Yes, the glove. I have not played any yet. Unfortunately, I get free copies of anime I'm in. I don't get free copies of video games that I'm in. I do want to get the mobile game, though, just because there's like so much going on there. But that's the thing. Like, I used to play a lot of video games, too, and then my career in adulthood happened. And I'm just like, oh, because I love RPGs, and I'm like, I need time to sit and play this. Like, I don't want to walk away for a long period of time. That's why I'm bad at following TV shows. I'm like, this is too long of a commitment. But yeah, like I would love to. I did play a little bit of Tales of Zestiria, and I didn't play any of it, but they were doing like a Dragon Ball FighterZ like tournament at the studio, and so I like watched other people play it, and I was like, oh, this is cool. But yeah, like that's, and I've like people have sent me clips of like them playing games I've been in, and like that's been interesting, and it's always really weird. I'm still not used to video games because it's like that's me making a lot of battle reactions like over and over and over and over again. It's like stop, listen, Alicia's dying, help her. Like she's just like like just over on the side, like getting hit. I'm like, save her, please. But you know, in anime, it's like a one-time thing, and then in video games, it's like, no, every time that character gets hit, they make a sound. And it's random every time, so it's just kind of a different experience having my voice come out of a video game, so it's very strange. I think I played a little bit of Lord of Magna, just a wee bit. I think that might be it. Yeah, most of the stuff I've seen, like NeiR Automata, people were like sending me clips. I'm like, why do you keep sending me that clip? The really sad one. Those of you that have played NeiR know what I'm talking about with Pascal, me. Yeah, so I don't know. I need to play more of them though. It'd be cool. I want to play like Blaze Blue Cross Battle or like because I love fighting games. Like that's not a huge commitment. Like I need to get some fighting games. Yeah. Do you have another question? Yeah.
What's your favorite anime?
I told you guys I'm bad at the. I'm kidding. No, you're fine. let's see. I think it's probably easier to say what my favorite anime was before anime exploded and I became a voice actor and was like completely surrounded by all of it, because now there's just too much. One of my favorites was, well, I'll do two. One of them was Fruits Basket. So now that we're doing this new one, I'm like super, super, super excited. And another one was Rurouni Kenshin, which a couple years ago at Funimation, we got the rights to dub the live action trilogy film, the film trilogy. And they had no idea I was a huge fan of Rurouni Kenshin. And I got called in and the director was like, "You're voicing Kaoru." And I was like, "What?" And I was like doing this like happy, we call it the happy pee-pee dance. And he looks at me and he goes, "That's really strange. Micah Solusad did the same thing because he got cast as Kenshin." And I was like, "That's because Micah and I are like the biggest Kenshin closet nerds. Like, and you didn't even know that. And you like granted us our dying wishes. Like, that's great." So by the way, if you ever meet Micah and you've seen the Rurouni Kenshin live action films, just put it on a laptop, have the movie going, and stick it in his face. He refuses to watch them because he's like, "I love Kenshin so much, and if I felt like I didn't do him 1,000% justice, I would feel terrible." And he just judges himself so harshly. And I'm like, "Micah, you're perfect. Like, you sound so good. Like, I'm a huge Kenshin fan, and like, you did it so much justice." And like, so yeah, just like, I told him, I'm like, "I'm gonna trick you one of these days. I'm gonna invite you somewhere, and it'll be like a restaurant. Like, you won't see it coming. And then they're gonna lock the doors and turn the lights off, and like a screen like that is gonna come down from the screen or from the ceiling, and you're gonna be like, 'Oh no.' And then two guys are gonna grab you like Clockwork Orange style and like sit you in a chair, and you're gonna watch this movie." And he's like, "Please don't do that." I'm like, "It's coming. I know people. Just you wait." And I haven't watched the new Fruits Basket yet because I want to wait till it's like all done and then binge it. But I'm so excited about that. I mean, Sailor Moon is a classic. I think that was probably the first anime I ever saw, like long before I even knew what anime was. But I was a really big fan of like the original Toonami. Like, that's when I was watching it, like the 90s Toonami. I'd watch it after school. So like, you know, Outlaw Star was on television, and Dragon Ball, and gosh, what else? Like Blue Sub 6 and Tenchi Muyo and like all these old things. So, and that was before I knew what anime was. I just was like, these cartoons are different, and that's all I got. And then later I met people who clarified. But yeah, and it's just, like I said, there's so many good shows out now, but I will say there's nothing like nostalgic 90s anime. You know, like so many good things now, but occasionally I'll go back and like revisit one of the old ones. And it's just really cool to see how far it's come. So, anybody else got a question? Anybody who has not asked a question that would like to ask a question or answer a question? I got questions too. Okay. I mean, I already asked you guys about food. That was the really pressing matter on my brain. Okay, who had questions? Raise your hand again. Okay. Yeah.
What are some of your most enjoyable endings to direct?
Ooh. I had so much fun directing World End. The full title, it's ridiculous. You guys ready for this? What are you doing at the end of the world? Are you busy? Will you save us? Do you think it's a light novel? Because it is. I've noticed they all have really long titles. So I'm like, I'm not writing that on timeout sheets ever, or like booking sheets every day. Like, we're just gonna write World End. If you have not seen World End, please watch it. And that is not me like tooting my own horn. Watch it in Japanese if you prefer. Like, just watch it. It is such a good show. It's 12 episodes. It's beautiful. If you know the Simon and Garfunkel song, "Are You Going to Scarborough Fair?" The opening theme song is the most beautiful rendition of that I have ever heard in my life. It is a Japanese woman singing in English, and it is this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cover. Such a good show. I like cried when we were done with it because it meant that much to me. Another one that I had a lot of fun with was Restaurant to Another World, which was just this nice, like, that season was really violent in terms of the shows Funimation was producing. And so it was really nice to just be like, oh, we're just gonna have this nice, like, Studio Ghibli type show where people eat food. And it's by, what is it? Studio Link, is that the studio? They're known for like hyper detailed stuff. And it was so nice. And Christopher Sabat was my lead in that. And it was such a compliment because like occasionally he'll send me text messages and he'll be like, "Can we just build a time machine and go back to Restaurant to Another World?" Because it was just so chill, and he was in the middle of doing all this like really hardcore Dragon Ball stuff, and there was a lot of like, I can't remember what all was going on that season, but a lot of screaming and for everybody. And my show was like there was the core cast, and then every episode you'd meet some new characters. So I was getting a lot of people in the booth for this show, and people would just come in and be like, "Oh my God, it's so nice to just use my regular voice and like be conversational," and like it was just this very gentle show. And a lot of people were telling me that season, they're like, "I'm watching," I think Overlord was one of the shows we had that season, like Overlord season 2 and like all this other crazy stuff. And it's nice to like take a break from that and just watch something like make dinner, because you can't watch it without eating because the food is so good. It looks so good. And just relax and like chill and like decompress and just like watch people eat food. So that was really fun. Conception was a horrible show, but we had a blast recording it. It was, oh my God, that show. Yeah. I have, 40 hours worth of outtakes for that show. None of them are appropriate. We have an entire episode that we have an alternate dub track to that we were just making fun of the entire episode, and it's really funny. So then I had a cast party and we like watched the highlights. But yeah, directing's been really fun, and I've been fortunate to get some shows that have been really, really fun. So
We've only got 5 more minutes
Dang
left.
it. Okay.
So maybe 1 or 2 more questions.
our
then
time is
final
growing
thoughts.
short. It's okay, I have another panel tomorrow. Anybody else? We can do like a lightning round, and I'll try to not suck at it.
What was your favorite moment working on business school?
Contrary to popular belief, I actually really enjoyed voicing Hana. Like, she was really uncomfortable, but like to me, I'm like, that is like an actor's dream, to have like all those notes and do all that crazy stuff. And so, honestly, it wasn't even my favorite moment. My favorite part of that show was having Sonny Strait as a director. He's directed me several times, and he never leads me astray. He's an actor's director. He's incredible. And also making Austin Tyndall extremely uncomfortable. He told me several times that he had to have my dialogue muted because he couldn't listen to me and deliver his lines. So, score. But yeah, she was cool. Anybody else? Questions? Yeah.
If you could escape from any anime world, which one would it be?
Oh, man. Someone feed me an answer. Whatever people are whispering. There's so many good ones, and I'm like drawing a blank. Oh my gosh. The Magic Knight Ray Earth would be cool. Yeah. Okay. Did I win? Did I get it? Anybody else? Yeah.
Is there one character that like you really wanted to voice but then you didn't get the part?
Oh man. First of all, I'm always very grateful for work, and I'm always very grateful. And I also appreciate directors' decisions. Like, if they decide that someone else is better for that part, then that person needs to play that part. But I will say, it would have been really awesome even to have gotten to audition for the new Sailor Moon. That would have been really cool. I would have taken anything in that show. I just wanted to be a part of that show. That would have been awesome. So yeah, Sailor Moon. Anybody else? Do. I can dance awkwardly for you. Or we can, oh, yes.
Again, what is your favorite music?
Favorite music. Right now, I'm very versatile in my music taste. If you go through my shuffle, it's like very eclectic. A lot of times when people are in my car, we'll be listening to one song, and then the shuffle will choose another very opposite song, and they'll go, wow, that was a transition. I'm like, yeah. Right now, though, I would say my top artist, kind of my musical muse, as it were, is a band called IMX. I just went to his concert the other night, and it was so great. He's been extremely influential to me when it comes to my script writing. So, and I'm also writing a play right now, and his music has been a source of creative inspiration for me. So it's been very helpful. It's good to find a musical artist that can stimulate your creativity like that. Anybody? Yeah.
Do you have a favorite anime opening?
Oh man, you guys, these are great questions. I'm just bad at them. Honestly, okay, the first one that came to mind, there's a bunch of them, but the first one that came to mind for time's sake, there's a show called Gangsta. Yes, it's such a good song, and it's like good animation, and if you show it to someone who has no idea what's happening, it looks really awkward. But it's like, is she getting drugs, or is she getting like an EpiPen? I don't know what's happening. Is she diabetic? Oh no, no, she's not diabetic. So yeah, so it's Gangsta, like with an A instead of an ER. Look up the opening, it's really cool. And I guess,
Okay.
did I do it?
Yeah,
Yay.
we're out of time, so thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for putting up with my awkwardness and my long answers. I appreciate it. Of course. Thank you guys for having me. This is my first time at a international convention.